All right, so today we are looking at G. Guarantee provides security. By guarantee here, we are looking at guarantee provides security. By guarantee, where we're looking at demand guarantee. Demand guarantee. Demand guarantee. Demand guarantee is a trade instrument. Demand guarantee is a trade instrument. Just like letter of credit, just like bill for collection, just like standby letter of credit, just like export credit insurance, demand guarantee is a trade finance instrument. It's a trade finance instrument. This instrument is extremely important in both local transaction and export transaction. So when we are structuring trade transaction, one of the things we should try to work with is to see how you can structure a trade transaction without having to look at collateral, but rather looking for trade instruments to protect that transaction. And guarantee comes handy for that. Guarantee comes handy to make that happen. Demand guarantee. Demand guarantee. Demand guarantee provides security, and that's why we are considering it. It provides security. It provides security in local transaction. It provides security in import or export transaction. The usage of guarantee has been on the decline. So the usage of letter of credit has been on the decline, and the usage of guarantee and standby has been on the increase. Why? Because letter of credit cause delay in trade transaction due to the fact that letter of credit tends to create discrepancies. Discrepancy is said to occur in trade transaction when the document presented differs from the terms and conditions of a letter of credit. When the document presented differs from the terms and conditions of a letter of credit. So whenever the document presented differs from terms and conditions of a letter of credit, the implication of that is that there will be discrepancy. Now, and discrepancy is not a good one for trade transaction because that discrepancy will create delay. Because that discrepancy will create delay. Because that discrepancy will create delays. And what any trade person in today's world will avoid at all costs in any trade transaction is any form or type of delay. Is any form or type of delay. Now, because of the delay that often occur in trade transaction, because of the delay that often occur in trade transaction, a lot of importer and exporter are moving away from the use of letter of credit. They are more interested now in bill for collection and open account. Because they are now more interested in bill for collection and open account, what is that creating? What is that causing for us? That is them making the usage of open account to be on the increase. In open account, exporter ship the goods, send document to the importer, and wait for payment to come after. Of course, that appears very, very, very risky. Of course, that appears very, very, very risky. So how do we protect ourselves in that regard? That is where guarantee comes in. So those that are using open account shipping goods, waiting for payment to come after the exporter must have cleared the goods, the importer must have cleared the goods. They have a risk, and the risk is that they might not get paid. And to protect against that risk, they now use instruments like demand guarantee. They now use instruments like standby letter of credit. They now use instruments like demand guarantee and instruments like standby letter of credit. Now, international trade risk can be effectively mitigated by deploying the appropriate trade finance instrument to cover the risk of performance and expected payment on the transaction. Therefore, to get the bank to finance an import or export trade transaction, you can look for gaps, risk gap, and engage the right instrument to mitigate the risk of financing by the bank. Incorporating this in a proposal by an exporter will give the bank the needed comfort to get them interested in the transaction. So what is he saying? And this is what, as a banker, you can advise your customer to do. Advising your customer to look at the transaction. Whenever you are trying to apply, you should be able to anticipate the risk and provide solution to what you are going to do to mitigate the anticipated risk. Provide solution to mitigate the anticipated risk. Provide solution to mitigate the anticipated risk. And one of the ways to make that happen is through the use of trade finance instruments like demand guarantee, like standby letter of credit, like export credit insurance, like letter of credit, like bill for collection. Now, in this conversation, my focus will be on demand guarantee. Demand guarantee. Now, demand guarantee has been defined as an irrevocable undertaking. An irrevocable, when you see the word irrevocable in any trade transaction instrument, that means the party involved must agree for any amendment or cancellation to happen on that instrument. The parties involved, which typically will be the issuer and the beneficiary, must agree. If they do not agree, that request will not hold water. An irrevocable undertaking by the guarantor, typically a bank. By the guarantor, typically a bank, who upon the instruction of the applicant, which is a bank customer, and this applicant can be the importer or the exporter, on the instruction of the applicant, upon the applicant to pay the beneficiary, is issued by the guarantor based on the instruction of the applicant, and is to pay the beneficiary any sum that may be demanded by that beneficiary up to a maximum amount determined in the guarantee upon presentation of a complying document. Upon presentation of a complying document. Upon presentation of a complying document. That means document is involved. The document must be compliant. Document is involved and the document must be compliant. There must be a presentation of document and the document being presented must be compliant. If the document presented is not compliant, payment will not be made. Now, if you are familiar with letter of credit, this is exactly the way a typical letter of credit works. In a typical letter of credit transaction, documents are presented for payment to happen. In a typical letter of credit transaction, documents are presented for payment to happen. So that means the idea behind letter of credit, a guarantee, is that a bank gives a guarantee. And the bank will not give it based on just anything. The bank have a basis for giving that guarantee. Typically, the bank must have been protected. Typically, the bank must have been protected. How will the bank be protected? Through different instruments, depending on what is convenient for the customer. Now, the reason why this is being considered in this particular series of seminar is to let us know how then do we use it in international trade. I'll be talking about 2 or 3 types, and how we can use it. There are different types of demand guarantee, and this includes an advance payment guarantee, performance guarantee, and a host of others. But we'll concentrate on this one. So let's look at an advance payment guarantee. Advance payment guarantee can be used to secure advance made by an exporter's bank to a local supplier. Let me give you an example of what we do. I do some exports, but I do it with individuals in group. Because we understand the terrain where we are as a business, if we are going to engage anyone to be able to supply based on funds we raise from our investors, we get a guarantee. Now, the guarantee basically is to ensure that no matter the circumstances, the capital is secured. So when you are dealing with a bank as an exporter, and you're telling the bank that, look, I need you to give me money for an export transaction. But this transaction, export transaction, I want you to give me money for, I want a situation in which the bank make funds available to the local supplier ahead of delivery. And the local supplier is willing to give an advance payment guarantee. Now, as a banker, you know, when the customer tells you that the money can be given to the supplier, you will tell you that, no, the bank cannot do that. But when you say the bank cannot do that, you don't provide solution that, okay, the bank cannot do that, but what can the bank do? It's very important we realize that in Nigeria, commodity business is a largely cash-based business. What that means is that we really cannot do without cash. Because we really cannot do without cash in that business, the implication of that is that we must make cash available to local suppliers, but we must do that responsibly. So as a banker, the essence of this seminar is to educate bankers that, look, there are ways around some of these issues. And it's very important we begin to provide that solution. You know, I mean, and I would like it or not, we have very big issue in this country right now. And one of the ways to fix some of the issue we are having is through export. But the bank also cannot lend blindly. But if an exporter brings transaction that we are not able to accept because there's a risk, we should find a way to provide solution. Because sometimes, you know what I discover? You know, each time I tell people, say, Adele, how are they giving you guarantee? Would they be able to? Oh, they are giving it. They are able to get it. Especially for APG, they're able to get it. So being able for them to be able to get that guarantee, for one reason or the other, some of them don't even know. That's the interesting thing. They don't know. So for some time, anytime I talk to them, they say, can I get it? I say, yes, talk to bank ABC. Different banks have different criteria. Along the line, they are able to, because typically most banks don't even ask for collateral. They ask for personal guarantee because they will take part of the money. They won't give him all. So they can easily get APG for the bank. And that can reduce the bank exposure. I'm basically saying that as bankers, we should be advising our customer on the need for them to be able to understand this instrument. You can educate them if they don't know, because, I mean, they are not bankers. You are bankers. So if the local supplier failed to deliver the good as expected, the exporter's bank can call on the guarantee to get the fund back from the local suppliers. And of course, the bank that gave the guarantee can then book a loan for the customer. That way, a bank will be willing to make funds available, because, like I said, if you want to do commodity business in Nigeria and you want to do volume, if you don't make funds available to the supplier, you will not be able to get the volume. Because if he doesn't have money on the field to be able to pay, he will not get the goods. Maybe he has access to 200 tons, but he has money for 50 tons. But if he make funds available, he will get the 200. But because he has money for 50 tons, he's only able to get 50 tons. But if he has been able to get additional money, he will get the rest, because he has a relationship, they will give it to him, but they won't give it to him without payment. Advanced payment guarantee. In some cases, the type of guarantee can be performance guarantee, especially when the payment method is secured and it's a secure method, an expensive method like letter of credit. In this scenario, the importer requests that the exporter issue a performance guarantee. Now, let me paint another scenario for you as bankers. You know, sometimes you're asking your customer, give me an LC, I will fund you. And the guy said the buyer is saying he can't give LC. You know why? The buyer is asking himself, if I give an LC to this guy, in Nigeria, I think it's about 1% or 2% or 1.5% LC. In some countries, 2%, some countries 4% to issue an LC. The customer and the guy might have to take a loan to give you that LC. Now, the guy is asking himself, this Nigerian guy, how are we sure he will perform? So, as a banker, you can tell that exporter and say, look, to be able to get your buyer abroad to give you an LC, give him a performance guarantee. So if the LC is $100,000, if you tell the supplier that, okay, look, I promise you I will perform. You won't lose this money, you're giving me an LC. If you are in doubt of my performance, let me give you a performance guarantee. That means I'm willing to pay you a fine if I don't ship. So that means if this LC value, if the LC fee you pay is like 2%, I will give you a performance guarantee of 5%. What that means is that if I fail to ship, you will call on that guarantee and get 5%. You will have covered your costs and you get some extra for the disappointment. Now, if an exporter is aware of this, it becomes easier for him to be able to talk to his buyer. And if buyer knows that, okay, if he's giving me a guarantee, most likely he's sure he will perform. Sometimes, apart from the concern of letter of credit, sometimes the buyer might want to not do letter of credit because he doesn't want to waste his money, because he's not sure this guy will perform, and he will have incurred cost of giving this guy a letter of credit. In this scenario, the importer requests that the exporter issue a performance guarantee to cover the cost of issuing a letter of credit. Upon receipt of the performance guarantee from the exporter's bank, the importer's bank issue a letter of credit in favor of the exporter. If the exporter then fails to ship as at when due, the importer then can call on the performance guarantee to demand for refund of the cost he has incurred to issue the letter of credit. Let's look at another one. Payment guarantee. And I will show you a simulation on this, a process on this. Payment guarantee. Payment guarantee. Payment guarantee is another good instrument that can be used to assure exporters, a local supplier, that payment will be made when goods are delivered and specifications are confirmed. Now, a bank will prefer to use this instead of giving an unsecured advance payment. So, for example, it can be the other way around. The other time we talk about fund being advanced based on advance payment guarantee. It could be that the bank decides to give a payment guarantee, saying when you deliver and quality is confirmed, we guarantee that we'll pay you. So it can be the other way around, that the exporter has the local supplier has the money, but it's not sure he will get paid when you deliver. And the bank is giving assurance. These are instruments that if we consider and use very well, it becomes a lot easier to be able to get some transaction through, and the bank will not be overtly exposed, and the exporter will have been able to have options of how to get the delivery, even though he doesn't have all the money for the project. Now, this instrument is not just good for local, it can be used for export also. Look at this situation. Imagine a situation where the importer and exporter have an agreement and the payment method is bill for collection or open account. Now, so when you hear open account, like I said earlier, that open account is increasing because it reduces the stress of letter of credit discrepancy. But besides that, another way to look at open account and the challenges of open account is this. A number of buyers are willing to give a guarantee, but they are unable to give that guarantee because of the delay caused by letter of credit. They are willing to give a guarantee that payment will be made, but they don't want to use letter of credit. If they know there's an option of a standby letter of credit we'll discuss in future, or they know there's an option of a payment guarantee, a number of buyers will be willing to go ahead, because that means they will avoid the issue of discrepancy that letter of credit creates to prevent them from having access to documents and clearing the goods on time. So let's assume bill for collection or open account. Importer and exporter sign a purchase order with payment method as bill for collection or open account. The importer requests for guarantee to be issued in favor of the exporter. The importer's bank issue and transmit the guarantee to the exporter's bank. The exporter ship the goods in line with the terms of the signed purchase order. The exporter presents document to his own bank. The exporter bank sends document to the importer's bank. The importer's bank informs importer of document arrival. The importer signs bill of exchange and collects the document. The importer clears the goods from the port. The importer fails to provide funds to his bank to effect payment at maturity. The exporter turns to the issuer of the guarantee to claim payment. The issuer of the guarantee then reimburses the exporter because the importer fails to pay. But if it has not failed to pay, transaction goes on smoothly and the transaction is concluded. The transaction goes on smoothly, and the idea here is this. That means I can actually do an open account transaction or bill for collection transaction and have a cover at the back. And this is very important. Very, very important. Because at the end of the day, it makes it easier to ensure that the transaction is secure. People have asked me, Dele, how do we fund an open account transaction or cash against document transaction? This is the way to fund it. How do we fund an open account transaction or cash against document transaction? This is the way to fund it. This is the way to fund it. If we fund it this way, it becomes bankable. If the structure is done this way, it becomes bankable. And it becomes easier In fact, when CBN is saying we should not do open account, what I've asked severally is we shouldn't be saying we should not do open account. We should be saying the people doing open account, 85% of trade in the world is not open account. The people doing it, how are they doing it? They are also not doing it blindly. They are also using a cover. That is why the usage of guarantee and standby is growing, but the usage of open account is on the decline. Is on the decline. Is on the decline.